Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief Recap. Happy Tuesday, TGIT. It's always fun around TRI on Tuesdays because we get to hear from the Kavarkinator. Kevin was talking lots of stock today. Quite remarkable how many stocks look very uppy right now. So, needless to say, TRIers are super active hunting W's in the stock market. Crypto, yeah, it's a slog. Probably the best way I would describe crypto right now is it's trying to establish some sort of footing here. So, I don't know whether this is the start of a new bull market. My hunch, to be honest with you, is no, it isn't. Or is this just simply a nice little rally window? If anything, this kind of scares me a little bit because this might actually set up, a late October crash scenario. It certainly wouldn't surprise me. And also, too, I don't think this political situation is any easier as we approach this U.S. election. So, yes, I am hunting some setups, taking some trades. Certainly not in love with anything in particular here. And if I start seeing any failure, then I'll get out of this stuff. But, even some of like the cruise lines and stuff that we picked up here recently, they seem to be just bumping along here, so I'm not really getting any sort of justification to freak out. And there are some names that are actually working up into selling levels soon. So I actually have been having to get sell orders working, which actually surprised me a little bit, but nonetheless, that is what it is. So with this kind of backdrop, it feels as though the market is on an up sort of beat up tone. Unfortunately, though, the bigger stocks, you might find things like the NASDAQ and stuff like that actually dominated by maybe even the potential unwinding. I don't know whether we're going to get to the point where they unwind them, but maybe a bit of bearish sentiment on some of the bigger, where's that chart? Some of the bigger tech names. I did a cute little here. Unfortunately, it almost feels like it's a tale of two markets, right? There's the S&P 500. There's probably going to be a good measure of the broader market. And you can see U.S. dollar isn't screaming higher or lower. Kind of just an inside day after, registering a new risk on vote there yesterday. So shouldn't surprise us to see things like the S&P, the broader risk market, oil moving higher up against our top here, bonds coming off. Actually, gold just parked there, not doing anything. Junior stocks trying to consolidate this massive jump up here again, sort of risk on. But, interestingly enough, and we might go through a period like this where something like the NASDAQ, because it's so heavily weighted with this Google, Apple, Facebook, Microsoft, Amazon. I thought it was interesting because I had been publicly musing about this recently. And I do find that sometimes when I publicly muse about something and then I notice that the broader public sort of picks up on it, and I'm probably onto something, that there's growing traction to, maybe we got to rein these clowns in. Maybe maybe the pendulum has just swung a little too far in their favor. And that's typical. What ironically enough should happen here is if the market actually believes that these things shouldn't be broken up and they should be left alone, then what really should happen is the market itself should just calm down for all these assets. They got to stop doing this, right? Politicians, when they see this, they start freaking out. So if this thing just calms down, maybe puts in a head and shoulders and cleans itself up, then all that the regulatory bluster will be probably ramped up, and that's probably what causes this. But, that's just congressional hearings and, oh, let's drag these guys through the mud. But at the end of the day, no real legislation happens, and, it's just business as usual. If these things just keep cranking higher here, then unfortunately that's going to get the politicians' attention. So, kind of a tale of two different markets. If you're in these guys, I'd actually look at this and I'd go, you know what? I don't want to have my money working in there. That's pretty damn risky. However, and like I said with Kevin, if you actually look at things like the junior market, it's kind of sideways, not really that great on balance versus the Dow. But we like to sort of cherry pick and, shop and, hunt for bargain names and stuff. And, we're getting things like bullish key reversals out of General Electric here. But General Electric does not look like that NASDAQ chart I showed you. That's actually not a bad looking buy signal. I got a number of like little ones that are all looking, very, very uppy. It's just like, what the heck's going on? Kevin showed us this name. I mean, that doesn't look like that NASDAQ chart, does it? I mean, they look like a tale of two different markets. I mean, I absolutely love, like, here's that cruise line stock. I mean, gee whiz, this thing gets up through 15.96 here today, sitting, it's only 25 cents away. That's another W. Wait a minute, what's going on here? Bullish engulfing bars, nice W's, beautiful momentum divergences. This thing's working higher. It looks really nice. Nice looking chart. So it's kind of a tale of two different markets for me right now in a weird sort of way. But like I said, what I'm really worried about here, and remember, Brian loves to worry, so there's always something I'm going to worry about. But one thing that worries me here is maybe all of these things, you can see there's a huge hole on the profile. This guy's got to come up, fill in the gap. All these trap bulls up here, they got to be released, blah, 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 blah. Names like this as an example. What we see out of the, what the hell did I do with the damn page? Is it over here? No. Hey, when I do this, I can't find the damn pages. Did I? I hope I didn't delete it. Oh, here it is. What we see is the breadth indicator clean itself up. All these stocks enjoy this really nice rally, and then the whole goddamn market is set up just after that election to have just the biggest punch in the nose you can imagine. So, enjoy the rally. We're, end of September, beginning of October. Usually these crashes happen about the second or third week of October. So we probably got another week or two sort of rally window ahead of us until the next sort of shoe falls off. All right, well, there's your sort of broader market ramp. Back to sort of your conversation here, what I like to have with you guys. Just keep the message relatively simple. Of course, I have to have the damn screen on here. There we go. All right, so U.S. dollar now working a bear ABDCD, and probably, in the next 2 weeks, that risk-on window. Little juniors can rally back up top. That, to me, looks okay. Stock market looks like we're rallying up into key resistance, which is what one should expect. Maybe we get a bit of a play here against this range here. But on balance, pointing higher. Crude right back up against the original top, and I think for our purposes we said we were going to move our stop up against this high, so we'll probably just say, hey, we'll call this a win just for a very small amount, and we'll just keep hunting for new setups, looking for that move down to the 50% rule. So actually I might even draw up the number. I think we had like 3 losses and 1 win so far. Still hunting for that 50% level tag. Bonds, probably sniffing out that oil actually wants to go higher. Bonds are breaking down in earnest here. Of course, Powell spoke in front of Congress today, and one of these, I think it's sort of like one of these weekly or maybe monthly sort of, and I'm not quite sure why, but now all of a sudden we've decided that actually it's the Federal Reserve Board in the United States that's actually driving the bus here, I guess, while Mr. Wonderful is off doing his crazy stuff. So as a result, it almost feels like the market is waiting for this Fed announcement. All right, so what's happening, blah, blah, blah. And then it goes about its regular business. So, Mr. Powell did speak today, and what I'm hearing is um, one thing I did like that I heard him say today was his acknowledgement that there are a lot of people that are getting a free ride out of this sort of too big to fail kind of world that we live in. Didn't really commit to making any changes right away, but did say things like, well, after the crisis sort of settles down, we'll go back and we'll look at how we can make this system work a little bit better. So I like the fact that, number one, he acknowledged that there was a problem with that. We really don't want to head towards Japanification. It's a no-win situation for the economy. But we'll see what. One good thing about the United States is they they are creative in their solutions to problems. So the overhanging mortgage problem through the Great Depression was solved through the Tennessee Valley Authority. TVA, of course, all right-wing people call TVA commies, right, the socialists. But in essence, that relieved that overhanging mortgage problem then. The 1980 cycle apex saw the savings and loan industry collapse, and there was a bipartisan organization that literally took all of those savings and loan bad mortgages and, in essence, put them on a side fund and manage that bad debt situation. So, ironically enough, through the 20th century and now here in early 21st century, what you're seeing with this quantitative easing and the Fed's balance sheet, that's just simply, we can't get a bipartisan group to work in Congress because these goddamn people won't work together. So how the fuck do we do this go around? Because remember, in the Great Depression, FDR had a blank check and basically ran government so he could create the TVA. In 1980, they actually had a bipartisan committee come together, and it was completely dealt with off of the political scene. Politicians can't even agree to anything nowadays. It's so polarized that the only solution was this Federal Reserve Board taking the bad debt on their balance sheet. So, ironically enough, you could actually make the argument that there's nothing really new going on here. Same shit, different pile. How do we get through these fear cycles? Usually what it is simply socializing the losses. It's business as usual. Devalue the currency, instill price inflation, which of course leads to higher and rising prices, which of course makes bank lending profitable, because they can charge a spread on interest rates. So that's the backdrop I see. If anything, what I'm really worried about is people have sort of been lulled into this idea that interest rates are never going to go up again. Oh, Jesus. That's a potion for disaster, subscribing to that newsletter. What I would say here, unfortunately, through these political events and, Brian's rants about celestial events, maybe we just sort of cool our jets. You don't need to bet the farm on anything through these events. Once everything settles down and we actually get back into our new sort of growth cycle, usually they say recessions happen in, 8s, 9s, 0s, 1s, and 2s. So once we start getting on the other side of that equation, then we can actually start thinking about what does the next generation look like. And I'll tell you, man, all of the pieces that I see are being put in place for a massive economic expansion. And ironically enough, the sort of icing on the cake, the cherry on top of the cake, is the public, and especially the lower class, the great majority, probably about 80-90% of the population. They are horrifically pessimistic right now. And they are going and borrowing money and putting themselves in a really bad situation. But ironically enough, if you can actually set yourself up, neither a borrower nor a lender be, you could do very, very well over the next 10-15 years. Anyway, unfortunately, with regard to the market, there isn't a hell of a lot of new I can tell you here. So as a result, a lot of the conversations recently are a lot of just sort of rhetoric. My apologies. Are there names you could be nibbling away on in things like crypto? I mean, I love Doge. Doge is like a sentimental coin. Anytime you can pick up Doge down below 30 sats, I think it's a steal. So, but is this a rip-roaring bull? Are all the kids talking about Lambos right now? No. But ironically enough, this is the business where when stuff goes on sale, nobody wants to buy. So, I mean, it's just one example. You can see I'm accumulating everything. I love my little Geo in here, just basically not even giving a flying fuck about DeFi or anything. I don't know when his day in the sun will be, but that's a kind of a name. Or I could come in and buy something like that right here. I don't know whether, the problem here is I'm not really actually like buying a hell of a lot right now. Got some bids working, that kind of stuff. Actually, one name that I promoted to the community, which I thought if you didn't own any might be a half decent, kind of like that Doge, is this Tube. I mean, that's got location written all over, and it's got a cute little W there. I mean, if you want to like sort of higher octane trade, you got a pretty good risk window to risk against there. You want to just nanny nibble and come in and just pick up a little bit for next year's altcoin season. A double is just to rally back up into these levels. Seems totally realistic. So that's the kind of market. Now, the adage is buy when it snows. So you can see we're into October now. Could we spend the next month or two just doing some crazy wonky stuff here, ultimately establishing our seasonal low? Sure. But at the same time, too, this is the kind of thing where if you do want to participate and you want to, I mean, the funny thing is you can see June, July, right? If you want to, through this period, be banging out doubles and stuff, you have to actually start getting active now. It might be a bit early, right? I'm not going to say, now, you got to do it now. On this one, I don't mind nibbles. Understanding that we're probably going to swoon through here and get ready for our next rally season next summer. And you can see right across the board, all of them. They're all just they all cleaned up their nonsense from the summer. Not all, but a good portion. Like this Mona. Look at Mona. It's come all the way right back down to my original buy level, so I could go reload, right? Sell half on a double up here. I could literally go and take that original capital buy right back. I've got a bunch of free positions built on all these. These are last year's stories. Some of them haven't done anything. And I'll just keep working my orders. Actually, I've got a new list that I'm starting to acquire. So in there, just nibbling away. And, I'm the type of guy, I want to own everything. I got lots of Bitcoin to use it as ammunition. And, of course, I don't put too much into any one nibble. And I just keep coming in here buying against the bottom end of ranges. But it's just not very sexy right now. So, I hope that was of some value today. Not really to get too excited about. And as Kevin was sort of suggesting, and I had sort of suggested to our community, I'm still sort of, I think probably for crypto, I'm going to be in sort of a holding pattern for a while. I think I told you guys, where are we? It's one of these, yeah. I kind of want to do a trade here on Bitcoin. I'd like it to be a little higher. I'd like it to fill in this profile up here if I want to short. I'd like it to dump back against these lows, maybe the bottom of value to think about buying right here. That's the big hurry up and do nothing. You remember the other day I'd said if we could please, and if anything, great analogy of don't take a trade on a trend line break. I actually was thinking maybe we could get a nice little M. Remember I drew that yesterday. That's pretty close. Yeah, it's not bad. I'm actually getting the feeling that the M looks like it's there. Problem is, that implies a sell off of that level there if we break down here. Yeah. Hogue hates when we take trades at the POC. I would, maybe I just got to be a little bit more patient. Just wait for a nice little push up into here. Fill this in. Give me the M up here, and then we can rock and roll. But we'll see how it goes. Right now, I'm just sort of frozen. Okay, I think that's my summary video for you to hear today. Not really a hell of a lot new. Hope you enjoyed it. PMA for the win. All the best, and bye for now.